If you're looking to buy a house in 2023, this video is for you. This is my 2023 buyer's guide. Now, I've decided to share it with you free online so you can have a better understanding of what to expect if you decide to get in the market. Now, 2023 is going to be a very hot year, so putting a plan in place well in advance is definitely recommended. Now, the cool thing about this video is it's the same style of video that I actually record my clients and new leads that make registries on my websites. I actually go about virtually and visually explain things so you have a better understanding of the process. Now, if we actually minimize it here, you can see my 2023 buyer's guide. So as you can see right on the front page here is my QR code, as well as success starts with a plan. That is so important for 2023 and every other year, to be honest with you. You do not want to be a buyer running around uneducated, looking at placing offers and getting burnt left, right, and center. So let's get you prepared. Now, the very first thing on this buyer's guide is my little explanation of your success start with a plan. I touch on that a lot because you don't want to be that person who gets very frustrated and upset with the professional who's advising you without having a plan in place. So moving forward, there is a 10-step process. Now, I'm going to break down these 10 steps in detail and then give you an explanation of what I see happening in the market. So the very first thing that you want to do is get pre-qualified with a bank or mortgage broker. It is very important that you figure out what your monthly bills are going to be, what your monthly mortgage is going to be, how much interest is going to cost, and figuring out what is more important to you, getting a 1-year term, 5-year term, 20-year term, whatever the case might be, figuring out what is important, because at the end of the day, not having those numbers really do play a negative effect in scenarios when you are going competitive in offer situations and you just don't have the knowledge or confidence. Next is finding a realtor. You really want to make sure you find a realtor that is able to explain things visually, virtually, and verbally at the end of the day, making sure that you have the best explanation possible so you can make sound decisions. Find someone who's going to go above and beyond. Next is the buyer's consultation. Now, the buyer's consultation is one of the most important aspects of this whole process, in my personal opinion. Figuring out, if there's a good fit between you and your realtor is very important. Finding out if that person is willing to explain things and talk to you about certain aspects of real estate. You can get the sense if they're just trying to get a deal done or if they're actually trying to build a relationship with you for long-term success and growth. As an example, I run my top 10 events every single month. I invite all my past clients to those, and I send a lot of videos like this where I explain different aspects of the real estate process before, during, and after. So finally, we want to start looking at booking some showings. Now, booking showings can be quite interesting. We'll set you up on the portal. We'll do a process of elimination. We will figure out which communities and quadrants you're interested in. We'll figure out what your criteria is. And I'll set up 2 or 3 different searches. You can be daily, once a week, twice a week, totally customizable to what you want. If you're 6 months in advance, maybe we just do like once a week or once a month, just an update about what is going on in your situation. Where if you're looking to purchase in the next 30 days, then we set you up on a daily search or an ASAP search where certain homes and certain criteria will get emailed to us right away from the Calgary Real Estate Board and knock out all third-party websites. Next is making an educated offer. Now, making an educated offer is an interesting aspect to my position. So what we want to do is actually sit down, let me record a video like this, showcase what's going on in the community, share with you some community stats, market reports. So really figuring out what the offer is going to look like before placing it is super important. Next, you want to prepare for a counteroffer. Now, in this market, I've noticed a lot of listing agents are not willing to negotiate. They're picking the final and last and best offers, which is somewhat frustrating for buyers. What I've ended up doing is, even if I lose out on an offer, I actually call the listing agent and I talk about, what was it? Was it unconditional? Was there maybe the price point that we can increase? Going back and actually fighting for your, process and purchasing that property is super important for a real estate agent to do. You'd be amazed, all of the little nuances that a lot of realtors may or may not do. So finding someone who actually goes above and beyond for the negotiation is super important. Once we get all of the finalized contracts, we will make sure that everything's sent out electronically. We go through them once more. We make sure clearly what the dates are, what the next steps are, and figuring out all of that additional steps over the next week as you go conditional. I'm not advising clients to go unconditional. It's just not the way that I like to work with people. I don't want people to lock into something without actually going and maybe getting a property inspection or at least going through financing. If someone's an investor and they have all cash, sure. we can go in unconditional. But if you're pulling a mortgage and maybe you're new to Calgary or something along those lines, just do the conditions. Get a property inspection. Just make sure that you're doing it in a time frame that's competitive. You don't want a 2-week condition period. Maybe it's a 5-day condition period. But you have to be competitive and you still have to protect yourself. It is very important for someone like myself as a realtor to entice the listing agent to work with us, because at the end of the day, unconditional offers are a real thing, and a lot of people are placing them and locking themselves into homes, but it's just not the way that I like to do business, because I want to make sure that you're protected at the end of the day. So I usually suggest doing some sort of conditions. Now, preparing for the possession day. From the day that you accept the conditions and you waive the conditions, my apologies, and the actual move-in day, it could be 15 days, it could be 30 days, it could be 90 days. Preparing for possession, there's really not much that you can do besides personally preparing yourself for that move. You can get in contact with your lawyer, make sure you ask some questions about different scenarios. You can start to figure out, your address changes, your utilities, figuring out how all of that transition is going to work, and kind of doing a game plan, maybe about a good 2-3 weeks in advance, to make sure that on the day of move-in, you have a really good understanding of all of the different utilities that you need to hook up, or maybe they're already previously hooked up. So, closing day. Closing day is interesting. The keys can be released anywhere between 9 a.m., 3 p.m. It's kind of the average. So when the keys get released, that just means that the money has actually been transferred from one lawyer to the other. And that means that we can actually go to the property at any point after that text message has been sent to me. So if I message you at 9 a.m. and you want to go there for 9:30, let's go. We'll go and check out all the appliances. We'll make sure that everything's working and it's still in the same shape as the day of inspection or the day of final walkthrough. Now, there is a couple different ways that you can go about this as well. You do not need to go right away. If the keys get released at 9 a.m. and you're not able to go to that property until 5 p.m., then we can go there a little bit later in the day. That property is just going to sit vacant with the key in the lockbox in the home itself, so you don't have to really worry about anyone getting in there without your permission. So that's the quick the quick 10 steps of the home buying process. So let's just kind of go through this really quickly. I'm going to put them all in chapters so you can skip through the video. You do not need to watch this full thing, but I will go through this very fast. I gave that full explanation at the front. Now I'm just going to go through a little bit of the details in between. So the first one, getting qualified for a mortgage. You can see that some of the costs of purchasing a home here, and then some of the documents needed in preparation to reach out to your bank or broker. Second here is just finding that agent who works for you. Now, it's very important to realize that listing agents do not have you contractually obligated to them. So when you actually go to a listing agent and start to ask them some certain questions, they are contractually obligated to the seller. Now, they are able to answer questions and show you the property, and show you some comparable properties in the area, but they will not be able to advise you. And that is one of the biggest difference between a buyer's agent and a listing agent. You want to make sure that you find a buyer's agent who is going to advise you and actually walk you through the process and actually tell you if it's a good situation or not, and tell you if it's overpriced or not. If you go right to the listing agent, yes, they could be very friendly and they could do a lot of work for you and help you out and make you feel confident, but why not go with a buyer's agent to actually work on your behalf and not have you directly connected with one property, but have you connected to every single property on the MLS? Going with a buyer's agent just makes sense. Next here is the buyer's consultation. Not going to go through this full thing, but here's a quick meeting agenda that we go through, and we just talk about some different things. Every single conversation is different, so it really just depends on what it is you're looking to accomplish. Now, next 5, 6, and 7, I guess 4, it could be included as well, really just boils down to communication. If I'm being honest, communication is some of the most important skills that a professional can have in any industry. I invested quite a bit of time and money in learning about different activities and how to present information and share information with clients. So going through the shopping process, the negotiation process, and the final signing process, we really want to make sure that we're having honest, transparent communication with one another, because at the end of the day, I need to work in your best interest, and I need to have a lot of the information and hopefully build up a good enough relationship that there's trust and integrity involved in that. So I've kind of morphed that into more of a communication style than anything. Each individual step we can explain during a buyer's consultation. Placing an educated offer, and then the negotiation. Again, I'm not going to touch on this. We've touched on it a little bit, but feel free to pause the video and give this a read. Here's some costs on the left-hand side that are associated with purchasing a home. So there's your down payments, your closing costs, your lawyers and movers, your insurance, your utilities. Changing of address is more time consuming. So just some things to be aware of when you're actually waiting. for the possession day, which is step 9. Again, just preparing yourself personally. So what I've done here is I have started a checklist on the right-hand side, and now I'm starting to stumble over my words. And then on the left-hand side, you can see step 10, which is for the actual closing day. Again, already touched on that. Don't really need to continue to discuss, but that is a very exciting day. Usually we celebrate. So moving along, the continuation with that checklist, if people are interested in figuring out, what they need to do in certain timeframes, they can always reach out to me and ask, and I can provide them with this. Finally, why work with Adam? I truthfully believe that my honesty, transparency, integrity have really helped me excel in business. I mean, I'm going up on YouTube here, investing a lot of money into different tech and different aspects of my clients' experience, and I feel like the response has been very good. So not really good at talking about myself, but if you want to pause and give a read of what I've written here, feel free to do that. So if you have any questions about Calgary real estate in 2023, please do not hesitate to book a consultation with me. It's free, there's no obligation, and I promise I'm pretty easy to talk to. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, throw me a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.